In today's video, you're going to get to see a beautiful 1965 Ford Galaxie. Hello everybody, welcome to Classic Car ChitChat. My name is Kevin. If this is the first time you're coming to my channel, then welcome. I really appreciate you being here today. If you've been to my channel before, then as always, welcome back. Thank you so much for the comments that you leave for me, for your thumbs up, for you subscribing to my channel, and also remembering to hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is being released. Today you're going to meet a gentleman. His name is Roberto. He owns an absolutely gorgeous 1965 Ford Galaxie 500 XL. It's the convertible. It is huge. It's long. It's beautiful. It has a 352 big block engine. It's got a 3-speed automatic transmission. He's owned it for about a year now. It's actually a Canadian-built car. It spent its life in Alberta, and it's got this stunning robin egg blue color. It's lovely. So without further ado, let's hop in, let's go for a drive, and let's check out this beautiful 1965 Galaxie. Oh, and there's Roberto. What a gorgeous machine. Oh my Lord, Roberto. Give me half an hour, I'll walk to the back. Go ahead, Rever. Oh, what a lovely sound. Okay, you can turn her off. What a beauty.
Thank you.
It's like I have to stand 15 feet behind just to try and get her in. Wow, she's beautiful. Tell me what you have here.
So I have a 1965 Galaxie 500 XL convertible, as you can see. It's got a 352 big block engine, automatic 3-speed, and fun to drive.
How long have you had the car then?
I picked it up last August.
So it's relatively new for you.
Relatively new.
Awesome. And was it in this condition when you got it?
I added a couple of chrome pieces, but
I'm all about bling. What did you add, just out of curiosity?
So it didn't have the 352 emblem, which was a story on itself to try to find a pair. And then I added the chrome across the door, just a little bit of bling.
Okay, so that was that in the original cars?
So that's funny. It actually meant to go on this top line.
Oh, right.
And you would have 3 different pieces.
Okay.
That was actually the OE.
Right.
And I've seen a couple of pictures just on the internet where they brought it down. And I thought, hey, let's be different.
I think it looks great then.
Yeah.
Yes, because I mean that's a line by itself. And
Correct. That is a nice body line, so I didn't want to mess it up too much. As you can see, the doors line up very well, and everything lines up.
And these are the original rims as well?
The rims that came with the vehicle.
Right.
But the original rims were essentially a hubcap.
Got it.
Steel rims and a hubcap. Probably 14-inch wheels.
But these do it justice, don't they?
They do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
And where did you find the car then, Roberto? Right here in Canada?
Yep. So this car is, it was built in Oakville in 1965, which there's another story behind that, which is great.
Wow.
And then it shipped to Alberta all its life.
Okay.
So it's an Edmonton car. It's solid, original frame, original floor, original trunk. Pretty much a solid car.
And this color would have been the original color?
So yes, it's I'm not sure what the name is. I call it robin egg blue. This is a similar color of what it would have been. I think that it would have been a little lighter, the original color. So they just enhanced it. The body paint was done about 15 years ago. So I'm told.
It is absolutely stunning. Like the color suits it down
It
to a
does,
T.
and that's what's one of the things that drew me to it, was the color combination with the interior.
Beautiful. And there's something magical about white interiors too.
I think
though.
so.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So what's the story with the Emblem? You had a tough time getting these?
Yes, so they're not very many around. So I started going on some of the groups that I belong to, and everybody's saying, "Oh, check Kijiji," and you're going to have a hard time finding them, and if you find them, you got to restore them, all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
which I'm prepared to do.
Of course.
I put an ad on Kijiji, actually just said, "Hey, parts wanted, 65 Galaxie 500, what do you have?" And a gentleman texted me back and said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I need some emblems, I need some trim." And he says, "Well, I actually have brand new old stock
Oh.
in a box emblems."
In a box.
In a
You
box.
hit the jackpot.
2 boxes.
There. Oh, wow.
Yeah, original Ford. And I'm thinking, wow. And so he says, "Well, come up and, let's meet." And we did. We went to his house. He has quite a bit of Galaxies. I think he has a 67 Galaxie with a
Lovely.
390 engine, so on. Long story short, he had them. And I'm thinking, well, how much is he going to want? So he said to me, "Well, I need about $400 each." And I thought, wow, that's $800.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's,
Okay,
I think,
that's getting up there.
I think my wife would not appreciate me spending that much money. And he says, "Well, what do you want to give me?" And I said, "Listen, I got $200 on me." And he essentially said, "You know what, I don't need the money." And he sold it to me for $200.
Good for you.
So it was really, really good guy.
What a nice man.
Yeah, very
Yes.
nice. So it just finishes it off the vehicle.
I noticed, Roberto, you have one antenna.
That is a power antenna. I
Right.
think I think someone had put it
Okay.
after the fact.
Because often you kind of see two on either side,
Yep.
kind of just to make it symmetrical
So
looking.
normally I would believe that the antenna would be on the
Oh, really? At the
passenger front.
Okay. Man, what is the actual length of this car?
I think it's 17 feet 9 inches,
Man, oh man, oh man.
something like that. 204 centimeters.
Like you get a little bit of a workout just going around the car. My Lord. And she fits in the garage.
She does.
Yeah, wow. But
Absolutely.
listen, Roberto, I got to ask you, you're a young fella.
I am.
Why the Galaxie?
It's a great question. So my dad was a Ford guy. He worked at Ford Motor Company. He started
here
in
in Oakville?
1969.
Wow.
Obviously retired from there and has passed away. However, my uncle Vito, he started in Ford Motor Company in 1959. And the story goes that he may have had a hand on this car when it was built
Wow, so
in
they have touched it
1965.
during
He
its
may have touched it.
process.
They've
Wow.
only had 2 shifts back then, and my cousin tells me that his dad, like my dad, really never took any vacation. So there is a good chance that he was on this car. So there's a great little. I can't prove it. Ford Motor Company won't release any information,
For sure.
which is, which makes sense. However, that's the story that we like to say, that we think Uncle
Yes.
Vito built this car.
And that is priceless.
So
That is worth something in itself.
I think so,
just
yes.
knowing that a
And-
family member had actually been part of the process.
and to
even.
bring it back into Ontario, which was great.
My Lord, she's absolutely beautiful. And fairly good condition. Like when you
Yeah.
got her, they didn't need a lot of work, just
That's correct.
cosmetic stuff you did?
So I brought it to our mutual friend, DJ and Frank at
They
A1
are
Auto
the
Dealing.
best. They are the best. Absolutely.
Yes, I have to give a plug to them because they took this faded. It's called a single stage paint.
Okay.
So essentially, the clear coat and the paint is mixed in together and sprayed at once. Where nowadays you spray a base
Multiple
color and then
layers,
you put the
yes.
clear on.
Yes, yes, yes.
So he had really a limited way of working on this vehicle, and I trusted Frank because he knows how to approach a car. That's
Definitely.
delicate.
Yes, yes.
So
and
he
he's
did
got
the-
the passion to do it, and that's
He
what
did the
makes
best
a
he could
difference.
to bring the paint back up. Again, it is 15-plus-year-old paint job, so they did a really good job.
Wow. Magnificent, though. And the vinyl, leather interior or vinyl?
I guess it's pleather.
Leather, yes. All original again?
Yes.
So being a convertible, she's held up well.
Yeah, I think the gentleman that had it before me, either he was the original owner or the second owner, but they kept it indoors. He worked at a dealership in Edmonton, and I think it was stored indoors.
Wow.
So it didn't really see much weather.
She's just magnificent, Roberto.
Thank you.
There's something about cars that just have the right colors. Everything about this car just sings, and it's just like, it's perfect in so many ways. And it just looks so cool. Like even the little idea of making this sort of slope the way it does.
Right.
They didn't have to do that, but they did, and it looks so good.
So the reason for that is they would have a cover over the wheels.
Electro fender skirt.
Right, so this one has it. Came with
Okay.
stainless steel one.
Uh-huh.
What happened, I tried to put them on. Unfortunately, the gentleman went with larger tires.
Oh, so
And when you go with larger and wider tires, the skirt wouldn't
doesn't
fit anymore.
Yes.
Uh,
Because
so
I have a
them.
thing about fender skirts. And
Yes, yes. I like to put them on at a car show if I could,
Yes.
but the wheel is too tight clearance for me to go in and clamp it. So.
Right, right.
But I do have them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Uncle Vito.
Uncle Vito.
I love it. Can we take a look at the engine?
Absolutely.
Man, that just sounds so... Oh, wow. Roberto.
It actually came this way. Again, they took really, really good care of the vehicle. I mean, I cleaned it up and did a couple little cosmetic things, but essentially this is how it came.
My Lord. Who would have painted it gold? Not out of the factory.
That's the color. That
From
was the
the
color
factory.
from factory.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to start putting lots of chrome on the engine. I think it's not a performance vehicle, it's more of a classic.
Absolutely.
So I like to just keep it as stock as I can. And,
Oh my God. She's
fun to drive.
absolutely beautiful. Look at the hinges even.
Hmm.
I mean, that's solid right there.
Yep.
And everything, like it's just so clean.
Again, what's great about it is this is the original hood. I believe it's the original hood, and it's just all metal. Like
Yeah.
it's very rare to find. If I would have bought this in Ontario, I'd probably be replacing quite a bit of panels.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Just because of our salt and weather.
Yes. It just, I mean, we're so limited in terms of how much you can actually drive our cars,
That's
as you
correct.
know. I mean, end of October if we're lucky, and
Right.
then that's it for another 6 months or so. Oh my Lord.
So one of the things I did do to the engine compartment is I'm always about safety, and especially if you have the vehicle running and you're at a car show. People would come and they kind of lean over.
Yes.
Well, it never came with a fan shroud.
Okay.
Right, so the fan blade, as you can maybe see, is right here. So if somebody
Right.
had come in and just inadvertently put their hand in,
Yes.
so I built this
Very
fan
nice.
shroud.
You built it?
Yes, I went
Oh,
to a
very
local
nice.
shop in Oakville, and they bent me a piece of flat metal, and then I did my cardboard CAD drawing.
Look at
And,
you.
I
This
bent
could be a
it.
little business opportunity right
bent
here.
it,
Roberto
and,
and,
yeah,
the little
so-
fan shrouds.
And two things it'll do, it'll help cool the engine, because now it's capturing
Yeah,
some of the
it's
airflow.
directed, yeah.
And now if somebody does come over, they're not gonna lose their fingers.
And it looks cool. Plus, you've got another little
Yes.
spot to put
So
your Galaxie there.
We got that. I
Oh
found
my
that at
gosh.
the swap meet in Ancaster.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
My Lord.
that's actually off a '64 Galaxie, but
okay.
I
But
thought-
only you would know that.
but only I would know. And
So this is, you've got what, the radiator there, and that's an oil cooler?
I believe it's the transmission cooler. Yeah.
Oh, transmission
Yep.
cooler, okay. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
How much space is in the trunk?
Well,
Can I have an app in there?
I always say you can fit 5 live people or 10 dead people, because the dead ones seem to fold a little bit easier.
Yeah, somehow, right? And then they get a little stiff sometimes. Oh, wow. Not what I expected.
So I did this. I repainted the inside of the trunk, and then I put some leather or vinyl just to cover it up a little bit.
How
Painted.
cool is this? I am very impressed with your craftsmanship.
It's just something to do over the
Yes, yes,
the winter time. Yeah, and that's original floor pan under there, which I have video of,
Oh, wow.
and that's actually the original spare tire, 1964 DOT on it.
My God.
So it's not going to do me any good, but
No.
but it looks good.
It does look good. Oh, it's magnificent. And with the, now is it a power roof?
Yes,
Does it work?
correct. Yes.
Now, with the roof down, it doesn't interfere with the space in the trunk at all?
That's right. The roof is under that tarp here.
Right.
Right. So when that comes up, that's just the cover, so you don't see the motor
Got it.
and the pump. And when the roof is up, power roof, it has power windows, power steering, power brakes.
Okay.
And then I went and found a original sticker.
Wow.
Right. So just so, you know, just to try to keep things a little
Authentic.
Authentic.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I love even the tail light detail, like
Yes.
everything.
Yep.
Oh, magnificent.
Yeah, it's original bumpers. Like, has a little ding in it, which it is a driver. It's
Yes.
you know, it's not a trailer, you know, queen, as I call them, but you know, it's
or a king in this
or a
case.
king in
It's
this
just-
case.
Yes, yeah.
And I thought I'm just gonna leave it.
Can I take a look inside? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look how much space there is here. I love this little chrome thing back here too.
Yeah, and that houses the rear speaker
Oh, lovely. And ashtrays everywhere.
everywhere.
Okay. Original color carpeting and everything?
So that's new carpet, but it did come blue.
Okay.
So I did replace the carpet and I replaced the seat belts. It only came with
Oh, yes.
front seat belts.
Yes.
And I have friends that, you know, want to drive in the car, so I have 5 new seat belts. The
Very
fourth one
good.
is hidden in the back, and that way we keep everybody safe.
And the transmission has always been right there in the,
Column
as opposed to beside the steering wheel.
as opposed to the column.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a console. That's what the XL stands for. So it's like a luxury edition.
Really?
It'll come with bucket seats, the XL, and it comes with the console.
Magnificent.
So there's a Galaxie 500,
Yes.
which would have a bench seat and then a
Got
column
it.
steering.
Yes, yes, yes. And the switches there, what do they actually control?
So those are power window switches. They're not the original switches, and
Okay.
that's very hard to find.
Yeah.
So the gentleman had one of his technicians, I would imagine, wire up just normal toggle switches.
Yeah.
And so they would look like chrome,
Yes.
right?
There's never enough chrome in a car.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they only made them for 1965 and 66,
Okay.
and very, very difficult to acquire.
Amazing.
So he wired them up, and they work.
Exactly. They do the
They're not
trick.
correct, period
And
correct.
in the
but
rear, I noticed that you've got the power windows in there too.
That's correct.
Right?
So
Okay.
they can, if the passengers want to roll their window up, if it gets a little windy,
My lord. And you've got the button there. Is that for storage?
for console.
Wow.
Yep.
And I guess the extra gauges were just something that were added on. Just
So I
you-
did that, and as a lot of cars do
Yeah,
have
yeah.
gauges in this, you know, we don't want to rely on the lights that come with the vehicle, which
Exactly,
they do.
yeah.
They did work.
Right.
So what I wanted to do there is I wanted to spend a little bit more time on it. So I built a chrome housing around the gauge.
Okay, I'm just impressed with your craftsmanship. First you do all the upholstery work
Well,
in the back, and now you're doing this.
If
made
you
the
notice, you don't
shroud.
see any of the wiring, or
You've
you don't
done
see
an
any of the cables,
amazing
right? And
job.
it's centered to the console, so that way it just kind of looks like it should actually be there. Is what my intention was. So that's just something I bought from Amazon,
I love it.
right? And then
Yeah.
I just built a housing around it.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And I love the paint even inside the car too. Like the white and the blue, it just pops. Let
Yeah.
me have a look on the other side. Look at the size of the door too. Incredible. So this is to control what? The side,
Yeah. So you can actually turn that
may I? Okay.
counterclockwise, I would imagine.
Oh wow.
So those are called smoker windows. So if you had your roof up and your windows up because it was raining, but someone likes to smoke, they can crack their smoking windows.
Oh,
They
fantastic.
thought of everything.
Unlike this, which is just that little lever type thing.
Right.
Right? So,
Yeah.
so cool.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me have a look at the other side.
And for a 57-year-old car, you can see how the doors just shut
Beautiful.
so nicely. It's
Very
it's-
impressive.
It's
And
quite
so-
amazing.
and it's straight as well. Like there's no
Yeah, they did a good job.
nothing abnormal. Wow. Even the finish here, like everything, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Lights as well.
Yes. Everything works except the horn.
So you just make a bit of a noise, right?
That's right. I haven't figured out quite why the horn's not working, but I will.
Oh, I love it. And the original steering wheel is this one?
As far as I know, it's the original one, but I did pull that one off during the winter, and there were some cracks, as they
Okay.
normally do. So I filled them in with some epoxy,
Nice.
and then sanded it down and painted it to match.
I'm really impressed with your craftsmanship. This is very, very cool. And it was never in like the white or the cream color, hey? It was always sort of matching the more the interior blue.
Yes,
Beautiful. Okay, should we go for a drive?
absolutely.
Oh, there's a richness to the sound, isn't there?
For a stock 352, it does sound pretty good.
So no AC in this car.
We're in it now.
Yeah, this is it. Okay. And of course you got the little side windows if you want a little extra
If
AC.
you want a little extra.
That's max power. Okay. So we're gonna go out there, we're gonna turn left.
Okay.
Oh, what a beautiful ride. So smooth. I bet you're looking for any excuse to go and get milk and bread and everything else.
I do like to drive it.
Mind you, the price of gas these days, it takes the romance out of it a little bit.
Sometimes.
But hey. She is so smooth.
Thank you.
And there's always something really special with cars with hood ornaments like that. You need something at the front, just
Yeah,
that little
just
extra.
to break it up a
Yeah,
little.
for sure. Plus you know where the front is.
Plus,
How could you drive otherwise? Oh, that sound is just exquisite. And we'll turn right at these lights.
all right.
So that other lever on the bottom, that's the brake?
Yes.
I'm assuming? Yeah.
The e-brake, emergency brake,
Yes.
and it works.
Very good.
When I brought it to have the vehicle certified
To the left of the lights, yeah.
in the shop in Burlington, the gentleman that was doing the safety had pulled everything apart,
Right.
and he was amazed. The gentleman prior to me had replaced everything: brakes, drums, control arms, ball
Very
joints,
good.
springs, complete suspension front and rear
To make it a driver's car.
to make it a driver's
yeah.
car. And when he put the car back together, and it obviously had passed certification, with fixing the horn, of course.
Of course, yes.
He said, "Well, how much did you pay for this car?" And jokingly, I said, "Oh, I paid $40,000." And he says, "Well, wow, you stole it." And I said, "So if I tell you I paid $19,000, would you believe me?" And he's like, "Wow." And so
Good for you.
yeah, so
Good
he
for
was
you.
he was amazed.
And you know what? I think for car lovers as well, they want to give it to a person who's going to take care of their little baby.
That is
right?
true.
At the end of the day, it's not about the money. It's really about the car means so much to somebody, and it's just hard to part with it, and just to give it up, right? It's
Well,
like a child.
Yeah, the gentleman that sold it to me was an older gentleman. I'm assuming he was well retired. And essentially, when we started talking on the phone, he realized I was a Ford person, and
Right.
My father and my uncle.
Did you
and all.
mention Uncle Vito?
I
Yeah.
did mention.
Very good. Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know it was a Ford vehicle
Right.
built in Oakville.
Oh,
At
yes,
the time,
right.
until he sent me the copy of the VIN right on the door, and I
Right.
realized, hey, this thing was built in Oakville,
Wow.
which was crazy.
Okay, we'll turn left here.
So he realized that I had to bring it to Ontario, which means I have to put it on a train, and there's an expense there. And he basically said, you know what, it's going to a great home, just give me this amount of money, and everybody's happy.
Very good.
So
Oh, that is just a lovely story right
it
there.
was great. He's a very nice gentleman.
And how did you end up in Alberta? Like, were you looking for this car,
See,
or just?
It's when you're on Facebook
Mhm.
and things pop up and say things that might interest you.
Right.
Well, prior to this vehicle, I had a 67 Cutlass
Oh,
convertible.
really? Okay. Yes.
Cutlass Supreme convertible, red with black interior.
Okay.
Beautiful car. and I sold it last June.
Okay.
And so while I was on Facebook, this similar interest pops up, and it was a 1965 Galaxie 500 XL red with black interior for sale in Alberta. Not this car, obviously. Right. So I thought, wow, that's really interesting, and too bad I don't know anybody in Alberta. So long story short, I spoke to my VP of the company that I work for, and he's like, well, why don't you just reach out to Kevin? He's our sales agent in Edmonton. So I did, and he's like, oh, I live 5 minutes away from that.
Oh, no way.
So
you do realize everybody named Kevin is a pretty good guy.
Yes, yes, and actually the previous owner, his name was Kevin as well. So
there you go.
You have a trifecta here. Anyway, he went and looked at the red car for me just because he could.
Right.
And long story short, it wasn't something I wanted to get involved with. The price was good, but it just needed too much work for what I wanted, right? Yeah. And anyway, he was supposed to bring it to a shop in Edmonton to have the undercarriage look at.
Okay.
If I was going to go further.
Yes.
That did not happen. So he called the shop and said, I'm not coming with that red Galaxie 500. And so the person at the shop says, well, is your buddy looking for that specific vehicle? And he said, well, I think he's just looking for a really nice convertible car. He says, well, I have a gentleman that's going to bring his car in for service because he's ready to put it on the auction in September last year.
Yeah.
In the Alberta auction. It's a 65 Galaxie 500 XL convertible blue with white interior.
This little girl.
This little girl.
Wow.
And that's how it began. So it's from one vehicle going to go look at to buying this one.
Amazing.
So that's how it ended up in Ontario. So
you know what? It's something. It's just sometimes the stars just align for you, don't they?
I think it did for this one.
It just makes things happen.
I think it did for this
one.
one.
What was the very first car you bought then? Do you remember?
Classic?
Any car. Your very first car you drove. Let me ask
1969 Honda Civic.
Okay, the classic on its own.
That one came from my brother.
All right.
So
okay.
He's 10 years older than I am.
A little hand-me-down, if you will.
Hand-me-down.
Very cool.
And then my first classic car was a 1972 442 W30 Oldsmobile.
Wow. How long ago was that?
Oh, I was young. Before I was married, so in the 90s. Anyway.
So you've always loved classic cars?
Yes, right from the beginning.
Good for you.
So I wish I would have kept that vehicle.
Yes.
Knowing what it's worth now.
I bet.
But so I had that one, and then I got married and needed some money. We were a single income family sort of thing.
Yeah.
And my wife worked, but we sold the car.
Right.
And I had an opportunity to buy another one. And it was a 69 442. Then I bought it, and surprisingly, my daughter was coming.
Right.
So it's like, well, maybe we'll sell this one. So then we did. And then I didn't have a classic car for the longest time. And then.
So you're blaming your kids for getting rid of your cars. So kids, if you're listening, that's what Dad's saying.
No, it all worked out in the end.
Absolutely. No, that's magnificent. Thank you, Roberto.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, let's enjoy a little bit more of her from the outside. Absolutely gorgeous machine. I love it. I love it.
It does turn heads.
Yes.
And it seems to be a highlight at some of the car shows. That the reason why I say that is because it's fresh. They haven't seen it. This hasn't been in Ontario for much time. So when I do drive to these shows, I get the extra look.
You do indeed.
Yeah.
And look how well she sits, though. Like everything. She's got.
They did a fantastic job on everything.
Absolutely lovely. I noticed at the front. Now, do these actually light up?
I just think they're reflectors.
Okay.
Yeah. They're just bolt reflectors.
Yes. Because they look as though they glow almost, but I think it's
I'm
just
sure they do.
the sunlight.
Hit them with the light.
All right. So Roberto, thank you. I really appreciate you coming out, meeting me today. This is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful car. And what a story behind it as well. So I think, to me, that's what my channel is all about is, the cars are beautiful, but everybody's got a story, and why not tell the story? So, but thank you.
It was my pleasure.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.